When you did partner with Book More Showings, how were you feeling at the time? Like, what was going through your mind? Were you feeling nervous? Were you scared? Were you excited? And how did you overcome that? And when you did partner with BMS, what did you find with the company and what happened in your real estate business?
Yeah, I think when I started, of course, like anyone else, I was scared. I was like, I haven't really done too many of online leads. I have tried it myself. It didn't go too well. And then within the span of a couple months, I started pumping out a lot of deals. And then I think essentially what happened is I saved a lot of my time from trying to do it myself. I had William and the team take care of the leads and essentially saved lots of my time. And that opportunity cost just resulted in more deals for myself.
Okay. So like when you say it saved you time and you did more deals, can you like walk us through what that looks like? What it looked like for you at least?
Yeah, when I basically started, I started prospecting myself, doing my morning, evening dials. Eventually, just got really busy. I got an ISA or an inside sales agent, and I think the biggest month probably was between May 1st to around June 15th. I did 13 deals within
Yeah,
45 days.
that's killer.
Yeah.
As I want to dive in on that, 13 transactions in that short of a time is insane.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through like how did you even do that? What was your process like? How did you achieve that? What's your sales background? Like tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is coming up to my third year of real estate. I've pretty much done sales my whole life, coming up to 6 or 7 years. I've only worked in communications, that includes dealerships and banks. So real estate was just another avenue to explore. I noticed that when I started doing online leads and something got taken care of, as in my biggest asset was my time, which got taken care of. Essentially, not having to do 10, 11 hours a day anymore and have an ISA. They do 2 hours of calling, they book my calendar, and working even 6 to 7 hours a day, and I still achieve that many deals in a short span of time.
It's awesome. And so those 13 transactions you did, were they from Bookmore showings only or were they a combination of other avenues?
Yeah, I would say maybe 3 or 4 referrals, but aside from that, the rest of them came from online leads.
Cool. And when you did prospect and have an ISA, can you tell us a little bit what did you do on a daily to achieve those kind of outcomes? And how long did it take you to start getting that outcome?
Yeah. Here's the thing, you can't expect results to come right away. Of course, it does take time for it to come to fruition, even for myself. I think probably within the 60 days or so, I would say 2 months is when I see it coming to light for myself. When the ISA came to place, I noticed that with her being able to call my leads, I didn't have to spend too much time prospecting, where I can really take care of doing more of my appointments. And even if I do have to do some dials myself, it doesn't take too much time away from my calendar and I can focus on more stuff that's more producing for activities.
Okay, cool. So if you did 13 deals in the span of, would you say 90 days? Was that kind of what we saw there?
Yeah, actually, it was about a month and a half.
Month and a half?
Yeah.
Wow. So with that, how much was that worth to you in commissions?
Probably over 60, 70 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so your investment with Bookmore Showings was how much?
I would say probably 8x or so, 8 or 9x within a month and a half.
Yeah, I bring that up because that's absolutely killer. Probably one of the best stats we've seen with Bookmore Showings. I guess I want to ask you, like, because you've done really well with us, what would you tell a new agent who's on the edge of wanting to make a change in the real estate business, but they're afraid to invest anywhere from 7 to 9,000 into a system like this? What would be your feedback to anyone in that shoes that you were before?
Yeah, honestly, I would answer that with another question is saying, what's the opportunity cost of not having a system like this? Like 7 to 9,000, it might seem like a little bit of a higher investment up front, but when you see the return, like even for myself, you might not have the same return, but it really depends on the amount of time and effort you're willing to put in. But if a 7 to 9,000 investment is able to make you 50, $60,000, it sounds odd not to invest that sort of money to make that money back, right?
Mm. And another question that's awesome. Another question I'd like to ask you is, well, what was your experience like with online leads versus other ways of generating business, whether that's door knocking or open houses or relying on referrals, maybe even social media videos? Tell us a little bit about that. What did you find working and what did you find not working, maybe?
Yeah, referrals are great, but the thing is, it really comes down to having a steady business based off of referrals. For some people, it's great. Maybe they have a huge network. Referrals for myself, the thing is, I'm younger. I'm 22, so I don't have that big of a age group with people around my age who are looking for houses right now. So it mostly comes for parents or cousins, right? But yeah, I think door knocking stuff is just it's just not my thing. I honestly the opportunity cost of me door knocking compared to online leads it just doesn't make sense for me. I've been doing online leads. I've been calling. I know how to cold call. I think the biggest thing to learn is how to build rapport on the phone, and after that, it's pretty much easy after you build a connection, right?
Yeah. So now speaking of building rapport on the phone, I noticed that you were on a lot of the Friday coaching calls that we do. Can you talk us and walk us through the training and if that helped impact at all any of your results?
Yeah, for anyone who is listening to this, I think the biggest thing about these Friday calls is, William Sauger and all of our agents that come together is the biggest thing that we learn there is how to build rapport on the phone, how to actually make a connection and not come off with commission breath when you talk with someone on the phone for the first time. So learning those sorts of aspects and actually how to build a relationship and not go in thinking, oh, I'm going to close this person or get a deal out of it. I think that's what kind of was a turning point for my business at least, and that's what kind of started giving me more deals and actually understanding someone before I can help them.
So how would you go about, how did you change your mind from going from a commission sales breath to actually caring and helping people? What did you learn in the training that helped you do that mindset shift?
Yeah, I think there's lots of, because here's the thing, on the Friday calls, there's lots of role play. There's lots of framework that we go over on these calls.
Yeah.
I think learning that, writing down notes, practicing myself, trying it with actual online leads, because you got to try it before anything. You can't just say if it doesn't work without trying it. I tried doing it, a couple of calls in, booked appointments. Like the quickest close I had was about 8 days, and that was from online leads as well, right? So
Wow.
you can tell it's just a framework, and once you understand it, applying it is where the game is.
You had it closing in 8 days?
Yeah.
Wow. So do you mind if I ask like where that lead came from? How did you find that lead? How did you convert it so quick? That's a crazy fast
I got
experience.
nothing to hide, man. It came from, funny thing is, it came from Book More Showings. It was an online lead from Facebook. They filled out what Will has made called the quality funnel system. Lead came in, I called it, very open to talk to, booked an appointment, put an offer in, then unconditional, and it got pretty much pending and sold, and it was done.
Wow. So I guess the last question I have for you then is, with your experience now with Book More Showings and everything you just basically preached about, where do you see yourself going from here in your real estate business?
Yeah, of course. Here's the thing. I think eventually I'll probably grow into having a bigger team and stuff, pull myself out of the business. If I can delegate some of the work and then not be so much in the business and pull myself out and give more responsibilities to other agents and just grow bigger as a team.
Why is having a team something that's interesting to you?
I think for me, it's not just always being, I guess, in the residential business too much. Maybe even if I can be more of like a manager role for all these agents, or even if I focus something more on like listings, because I'm not too big into the game yet. Most of the deals came for buyers, so if I can develop a team and take care of more time off my hands, it's probably a pretty cool thing to learn as well.
Okay. And so with that in mind, if you're going to be building a team, how are you planning on scaling that out? What kind of, are you going to share the same leads? Like, how does that look like in your mind?
Honestly, I haven't thought about it too much. I actually had a discussion with Will, and he has some sort of team plan that, something that can come into fruition with another sort of residential team plan. That's probably going to be my next avenue now to understand how I can build a team, because for myself, delegating other work that I don't have to do and just pay a little bit to learn it and just have a greater outcome just makes more sense to me. So it's probably something I'll do next.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.